I'd like to thank all of you folks for joining us here at the Big O. We've got teams from all over the world. The whole world came at the Big O. Ooh. Thank you for coming. Tinsel Typhoon out there against With a Vengeance. Tinsel Typhoon manages to knock out Frankenstein and picks up lead jammer.
With a Vengeance, finally managing to get past that ECRG defense.
Drug him out to 20 feet. Hotbox going to the hotbox.
And Tinsel Typhoon calling off the jam just before Sicktown has a chance to bank anymore.
4-0 run there. Man, back and forth game, Chaz. Amazing work by both these teams.
Absolutely, Phil. You paid for the whole seat, but you only need the edge for this one.
Just as long as we don't turn the whole floor into a giant mud pit.
Number 16, Beg for Mercy again for ECRG against Hate. Number 8.
Swagger Jackie.
Swagger Jackie.
Swagger Jackie jerking back and forth, trying to get around that wall. No pack declared. Multi-player block declared, but too late to do any good right now. Lead jammer, ECRG, Beg for Mercy. One from each team. Agent Orange going to be missed. Scoot also going to the sin bin. Beg for Mercy calling off the jam, picking up 4 points, 4-0 run, ECRG. That's going to give us 25-26. 1 point difference. Not really much.
It is practically a tie game at this point, Phil.
Of course, 1 point looks like we'll get you 3, as we have a relatively full penalty box right now. 3-2 pack advantage for Sicktown.
Miss Kitty LaRue, number AK-47, lining up again for Sicktown against 7-13, Megan Morphosis.
Once again, Sicktown in black, ECRG in white with the green. And lead jammer Sicktown with a vengeance. Miss Kitty LaRue, excuse me. Miss Kitty LaRue calls off the jam, picking up all 4 points. And looks like Emerald City gonna take a timeout. Do a little re-strategizing,
There's some definite opportunity to analyze the early trends here, Phil.
Yeah,
very active defense.
Great defensive work by both these teams. Back and forth. My unofficial count, which is very unofficial, has lead jammer neck and neck, which is why we also have a 26-25 difference. Currently, it's going to be a 4-3 pack advantage for Sicktown. Not much of an advantage, especially these 30-second penalties now we've got with this new rule set. Gotta say, love it.
Absolutely. So much more action-packed excitement for the fans, fewer opportunities to open up a big margin, so it really gives more skaters more opportunities to turn the tide. It's action-packed.
Yeah, and we're not seeing what I'm afraid we might see at some point is people going, yeah, this is worth 30 seconds. But we'll see how that pans out over the course of the weekend. Lots of teams I haven't seen in a long time playing here this weekend, so it should be a great tournament.
Yeah, Phil, rational actors will sometimes take the punishment. They'll do the time if they value the crime, and there's a lot of valuable crime on the roller derby track today.
Oh, speaking of crime on the track, Swagger Jackie picking up the cutting the track penalty. She's going to go to the sin bin, feel shame for 30 seconds, and then she'll be free. Tinsel Typhoon still stuck in the pack. So Swagger Jackie not able to earn lead whenever she does come out, but that won't be for till her sentence is done. Lead jammer ECRG.
Meanwhile, the ECRG blockers have cleared the penalty box and are preparing to make a stiff defense against any returning jammer. If and when
huge
she returns.
Hit. Meat Candy, part of that hit, knocking down Tinsel Typhoon.
Tinsel Typhoon racking up another 5-point grand slam. Not calling off the jam, but letting number 8, Swagger Jackie, pick up a few points in hopes of getting a few more of her own.
Oh, a low block called on Tinsel Typhoon. Came in, was trying to call it off from the floor, but picked up a low block. So now we've got a power jam the other direction for Sicktown. Swagger Jackie picking up 5 points after her first point scoring pass. Trying to get through that offensive wall in front of her. Good bridging so far, but finally out of play is given a spinorama and a grand slam. 5 points on the board. Sicktown and Swagger Jackie.
They knocked her around like a pinball though, Phil. She paid for it.
Definitely. Now back on the track. Oh, let's see how many points. Another 2 points picked up there by each team. The end of this, make sure the scoreboard catches up. Looks like 36-32, just about the halfway point of the first period. Wow, great action here on track number 3.
Absolutely, it's the place to be, Phil. You know, you wouldn't necessarily expect this level of intensity so early in the day, but here we've got it. This is truly a great start to a long weekend full of intense, action-packed roller derby insanity.
Amen, amen, Chaz. Oh, lead jammer Urzi finding that inside line.
And Sutherland, 4-4-2, having picked up lead jammer for ECRG. Working to make up some ground here, hitting that wall of black.
Coming back in just as Miss Kitty LaHoo comes out of the pack, finds a hole in the center. Meanwhile, trying to get around Hotbox. Finally beats her to the inside line, puts up 4 in the sky and calls off the jam. Great work blocking there by Hotbox, but just left that tiny little gap on the inside line, able to pick it through, call off the jam, picking up 4.
The ability of these skaters to stay up when they're being spun around, knocked around, shoved around, just blows my mind, Phil. And when it results in a big 5-point grand slam that otherwise would have had them recycled to the back of the pack, you really see how intense the skill level is here, how high the competition level is here today.
Beg for mercy out there, jamming for ECRG, almost finding a hole, but gets recycled to the back. Swagger Jackie out there for Sicktown, trying to get back a nice triangle position there. Can't get to the outside, tries to go to the inside. Finally out of play, declared free passage through the wasteland. Lead jammer Swagger Jackie. 6-point lead right now. Oh, and a cutting the track call on Beg for Mercy. Swagger Jackie now with a pow power jam. 5 more points on the track.
Boy, she's been putting some big efforts in these last few minutes here. She's looking a little bit tired there, Phil. I think Sicktown is going to have to analyze their resources a little bit here.
Sugar Hooker out there has been putting on a checking clinic. I think may have knocked the wind out of Swagger Jackie a little bit with that hit getting out of the pack last time. So she calls off the jam and calls a timeout. Sicktown going to take a timeout on this. We'd like to thank LTD. Thanks to LTD for supporting the Big O. Check out the One Pass for only $50. Your kids get access to with Lemonade facilities and unlimited LTD rides all summer.
Boy, LTD is such a great partner of us here at the Big O, Phil. They have provided rides for our skaters and our ambassadors here in town, and they are just a wonderful resource here in the community, as is Willamelaine.
I'd also like to say, in case you guys didn't know this, the Big O is the first certified socially and environmentally responsible roller derby event. As a green event, we encourage everyone to please utilize the receptacles for composting and recycling. We've tried to limit the amount of paperwork we generate here. We've instructed everybody to bring water bottles. It's great, and I love Eugene and Emerald City for putting this on as a green event.
It's something that matters a lot to these folks, Phil, and you really see the results in how little is wasted at this event.
Smash unit now with a power jam. They field Miss Kitty LaHoo out there trying to get through that 3-wall at the front. Tries to go to the outside, gets shut down, sees an open lane. That lane stays closed. Out of play declared, lead jammer. Shella F you up, headed off to the sin bin for a failure to reform.
Well, and you can't blame her for making a big effort like that, but boy, this is definitely a time when Emerald City needs as many blockers on the track as they can get.
Absolutely, after another 5 points picked up. Oh, a huge hit there.
Beg for Mercy sneaking by on the outside.
Finds that open lane. Electri with a huge hit. Remorse Code with a giant hit there that just stopped the action momentarily on the track.
She's a very determined blocker, Phil. A real joy to watch.
Been seeing some great hits, some great teamwork so far in this game, which Smash Unit, I'm sorry, Sicktown. Pay no attention to that scoreboard except for the score. Sicktown now 57, Emerald City 36.
And Sicktown switching it up a little bit. Looks like they've got Scoot out there jamming, number 10, versus Tinsel Typhoon for ECRG, who's held up behind a wall of black, while Scoot making a huge effort to get to the outside. Knocked out of bounds, though, recycled to the back of the pack. Still no lead jammer.
Great hit by Stitches and Bones out there on Tinsel Typhoon. Tinsel Typhoon, though, right back up, right back at him, trying to get around that block wall, deflecting some blocks. Finally gets knocked out of bounds by Stitches and Bones again. Shella F you up, going for a back block now. That gives number 10, Thrash Bandicoot, free passage. Lead jammer Tinsel Typhoon getting recycled to the back. Smash unit just doing some great defensive work out there right now. Just as I say that, of course, Tinsel Typhoon manages to part the sea, come out through the center of the track.
And I think no one was more surprised than Sicktown to see that development.
Thrash Bandicoot going to call that one off, picking up 2 points.
Yeah.
10 minutes and change left in our first period. Back and forth, forth and back, 59-36, smashed. Sicktown, that's it. I gotta quit looking at that scoreboard.
We might as well
me.
just assume it's a tie, Phil. The score isn't going to tell us much until the end.
That's true.
Number 250 with a vengeance, making some great efforts there. Beg for Mercy not far behind. A lot of hard hits.
Real tight pack right now, especially for being 3-on-2, and the pack advantage finally pays off with a vengeance. Lead jammer. That's a fun name. Oh, blocked by Sid Rock, but bounces off, holds the inside line. Out of the pack, both jammers now able to score with a Shella F you up. Another big hit. 3 more points for Sicktown.
And looks like we got Red Ruckus, number 94, lining up for Emerald City Roller Girls. I believe this will be her first time under the star tonight. Again against Swagger Jackie, recovered from her brief interlude there and eager to bring more swagger to the track.
Penalties called right off the bat on that one.
Red Ruckus picking up lead jammer with relative ease.
No pack declared. That's going to give Swagger Jackie the easy out. Red Ruckus she saw an easy hole. Did not see Thrash Bandicoot. That's who she cut. Black 10. Got hit to the out of bounds. Didn't see Thrash Bandicoot put on the brakes. Shot back in front of her. So now we've got a power jam for Sicktown. But all 4 blockers on the track right now. Huge pile up.
Whoa, looks like we may have something here.
Spunky Bruiser with the big hit there. All right, that jam called by Swagger Jackie.
All right, and they are not just saying hooker for no reason. I believe they are referring to the blocker Sugar Hooker, who may have put a pretty big hit on somebody there.
All right, an official review. I'm going to go find out what's going on. All right, so Swagger Jackie, captain of Sicktown, asking for a clarification on the end of that play, whether it was called for official or a time. Let me try that again. She called off the jam, or if it was called for injury. She believes that it should have been called off for her tapping her hips, as she doesn't feel that she's injured and doesn't want to sit out the next 3 jams. So our officials will talk about it, and we will get Del from Hell the microphone here momentarily, and he will tell us the officials' official response.
Excellent, Phil. Thank you for that update from center of the track. Ladies and gentlemen, it's worth mentioning that there are a number of raffle prizes. And if you want... Here we go.
Black called an official review. The jammer went down and appeared injured. They felt that the jam should have not have been called for injury. The call stands on the track.
And that result was a little tough to hear from up here, but hopefully you folks on the live feed caught that. And I think we'll get a little fuller explanation from Phil here in just a second.
All right, so both the jam ref and the head referee thought that the skater was injured, felt that there were too many skaters in the immediate area, so they called the jam for player safety. So Swagger Jackie will have to sit out this jam and the following 2. But Sicktown still able to pick up lead jammer immediately after. But hot on her heels is Red Ruckus. Stitches and Bones manages to shoot through and pick up all 4 points. Sicktown starting to pull away a little bit, 71-37. Emerald City coming out hot to start this off, and now in a little bit of a lull. I'm going to have to try and do some jammer control, I think. Get their defense up and stay out of the box.
Well, it looks like Crash Bandicoot, number 10, picking up lead jammer again for Sicktown. But with Tinsel Typhoon not far behind her, we may get a little inter-jammer combat before long.
Calls off the jam. Could feel her breathing down her neck, I believe. So that one gets shut off 0-0. Time keeps on ticking, ticking, ticking. Sugar Hooker with the star upon thars for ECRG. Up against AK-47, Miss Kitty Lahoo.
Well, Sugar Hooker has put a number of other skaters on the floor, and let's see what she does when she has to knock her way through.
Starts off with a shoulder to Miss Kitty LaRue. Now stuck behind a wall of black. Sugar Hooker knocking out Miss Kitty LaRue. She's got to cycle in behind her. Oh, a huge 3-way hit. And winds up Sugar Hooker, feeling herself off the concrete. Their lead jammer, ECRG.
Great how she manages to stick it, Phil, while everyone else around her is hitting the floor.
Great. Hotbox putting a shoulder on, but bounces off, taking that inside lane, fights her way through 2 shoulder blocks for 4 points. Sugar Hooker making it through and making it look easy.
And Sugar Hooker looking to further her opportunity and rack up some more points.
Miss Kitty LaHoo fights her way through for 4 more points. Sugar Hooker, though, bounces her way, pinballs through the center of the pack, picking up another 4. Advantage 4 points for ECRG. They start climbing their way right back into this game.
And you know, Phil, we have a little bit of a deficit now, but that could be made up in one epic gem. I mean, this is still anybody's game. Long way from over.
Yeah, we've got 4.5 minutes left in the first period, then 30 whole minutes in the second period. Plenty of time left, and a lot of things can happen. 30 points, I'm pretty sure more than one person has scored 30 points in one jam.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like number 222, Spunky Bruiser, lining up for Emerald City and almost working her way through the pack while her teammates keeping a pretty good lid on, looks like Swagger Jackie.
Swagger Jackie, though, finds a hole to the outside. Players were still recovering from other hits, so both jammers now able to score. But Spunky Bruiser out there, just avoids a huge hit from Sid Rock. Spunky Bruiser making her way around with 4 points in the air. Swagger Jackie already in the pack, taking some great hits out there from Megan Murphysis. Spunky Bruiser gets knocked down there by Thrash Bandicoot.
But she just bounces right back up, Phil. You know, she's one of our recently matriculated juniors. She's been doing huge things for the Emerald City All-Stars. She coaches the juniors as well. She is just a huge up-and-coming force in the Oregon roller derby community.
Juan had a great 8-4 run on that one, so that's going to put Emerald City 53, Sicktown 79. Great work out there. I got to say, the juniors, there's some great juniors bouts coming up this weekend, but we've reached a point now where a lot of the juniors are starting to transfer to the big leagues, and they have made an incredible difference, changed the game. Speaking of game changers, huge hit by Agent Orange right there. Not only knocking out with a vengeance, but setting up a big hole for Tinsel Typhoon to pick up lead jammer with.
And despite a great effort to get to the outside, Tinsel Typhoon getting recycled to the back of the pack.
Already picked up lead jammer and probably some pack. No pack declared briefly. And out of play declared, now out of the pack with a vengeance. But here comes Tinsel Typhoon, 5-0 run, ECRG. ECRG, I believe we've seen a little bit of a swing of the Mighty Mo, a little momentum change here as we get to the closing minutes of the first period.
Absolutely, Phil. You know, to be a team that's a little bit behind, you know, you don't have to take the lead to send a very clear message to the other team going into halftime. There's a lot of work left to be done, and they're going to have to do it if they hope to win.
Oh, exactly. Thrash Bandicoot and Sugar Hooker out there. You know, I think it was Sugar Hooker's jam that really started the momentum back in Emerald City's direction. Came out with a big monster jam after that timeout, and since then, again, lead jammer Sugar Hooker. But finding a hole to the outside, Thrash Bandicoot. So both of these teams fielding jammers that can do some blocking of their own, try and fight their way through those holes. Sugar Hooker getting involved in a big mess on the outside. Oh, sees the hole. Great vision on the track.
Absolutely, Phil. That is very exciting. You know, she knows how to knock skaters down, but she can certainly find a hole when it opens.
Comes straight into Swagger Jackie, knocking her down, but going down in the process. Sugar Hooker now trying to make the lap point. Oh, gets taken down there at the front of the pack, but pops right back up and right back out, and one more to beat. Holds the outside line, lets Swagger Jackie get set up again, takes a hip check, shoots through, 5 points, ECRG.
That was amazing, Phil. I can hardly see how she stuck it. She got knocked towards the outside so many times out on turn 3 there. It just is amazing.
Huge hit right there by Sheila, F you up. And another 3 points by both jammers at the end of that, but advantage Emerald City. 67, oh, wait for it. 79-70 right now. Sicktown with a 9-point edge. We'll see if this jam gets off before the end of the halftime. I don't know. I wasn't looking at the clock there, Chaz.
Oh, yeah, we'll be pretty close, Phil. And speaking of close, boy, this lead I could count with my fingers, Phil, and I may have to.
All right, looks like we've got one more jam. Miss Kitty LaHoo out there for Sicktown. Go ahead.
Spunky Bruiser exploding out of the pack after being surrounded and practically sat upon. Picks up some big speed while the pack's trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Miss Kitty LaRue finally just about out of the pack, but not without some fierce resistance from Agent Orange.
Agent
Spunky
Orange.
Bruiser gets through under scoring pass. Racks up, looks like 4 points. And calls off the jam, ending this period with a strong statement back towards Sicktown. Going into the halftime, looks like Emerald City 74 to Sicktown 82. Ladies and gentlemen, this is intense.
Oh, what an amazing bout. Got to say, Emerald City came out strong to start it off. Sicktown control in the middle of that. But then right at the end, that one jam, momentum started swinging, and now Emerald City at 74. So we're seeing a great back and forth bout so far, folks. Stick around, period 2 here will be in just a few minutes. Woo. Can't wait.
It's a little sad every now and then. You look at it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was on the decom for the fucking Kitty Hawk. So. All right, folks, we're about ready to get started again here. Emerald City 74, Sicktown 82. So big run at the end there by Emerald City. Emerald City down, just overheard a little of their conversation. They're going to work on pack control here to start this off. Sicktown probably also wants to work on a little pack control. Lead jammer to start this off, Tinsel Typhoon. Stitches and Bones, though, hot on her heels, breathing down
Definitely
her
an
neck.
explosive start, very fast moves. Tinsel Typhoon under pressure, having to call that off before she can rack up any points.
0-0 on that one. Stitches and Bones being awesome. Sugar Hooker out to jam again for ECRG. After that big jam, she had to start turning things around. Miss Kitty LaHoo out there for Sicktown. See if she can get things turned around. It's a whole new period there, Chaz.
That was an interesting start there, Phil. It's like everyone was sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. The whistle blew, but no one wanted to make that big move. Sugar Hooker picking up lead jammer after a very brave start, shoving through that wall of black, which was determined to put her down.
Both jammers finding an open inside lane. There's Miss Kitty LaHoo out there, out of the pack. Emerald City control in the back. Sugar Hooker trying to make her way through. Gets knocked out of bounds by Swagger Jackie. Manages to pick up 3 points. So far, 3-0 for Sicktown in the second half.
And as Spunky Bruiser, number 222, lines up again for ECRG against Crash Bandicoot. Both of these teams got to be wondering who's going to have the big explosive start here. It's still just a small point so far. Big efforts, but not big moves.
Spunky Bruiser with a couple of great jams towards the end of the first period there. Now trying to get her way through that great 3-wall at the front of the pack with a vengeance, coordinating nicely. Recycles lead jammer Spunky Bruiser.
I tell you, Phil, we came to watch Derby, but some of this action in the pack is looking more like rugby.
Oh, I swear, big Oh, huge hit there at the front of the pack by Remorse Code.
And she pays for it, but it may have been worth it.
Sometimes the price is small to pay. Finally, Thrash Bandicoot out of the pack. Oh, great hop to avoid the hit. Finds the inside lane, calls it off. Spunky Bruiser picking up all 4 points. Great work by ECRG on that bout. And good individual effort by Spunky Bruiser, especially avoiding that big hit. Just managed to miss it, but not by much.
There's a lot of great agility out there, Phil, but definitely the matriculated juniors have a real advantage in the darting and dashing around.
That's true. They're veteran players at the age of 18. You gotta love that. Swagger Jackie now with the star upon Lars for Sicktown. Tinsel Typhoon at the front, but gets knocked to the inside, falls down, slides in. She's gonna have to cycle all the way back. Oh, cutting the track on Swagger Jackie, and just as she heads off, Tinsel Typhoon busting through lead jammer ECRG.
And you could almost see Swagger Jackie wince at the prospect, Phil. Sicktown is chomping at the bit for a big win here today. They want to continue building their growing career, but boy, ECRG not making it easy on them, especially not now with that huge move by Tinsel Typhoon, leaping over.
Oh, but not falling down, drawing the penalty. That's going to be 3 now to beat. Tinsel Typhoon picking up 5 big points. Trying to work her way through that wall again. Good defensive work so far by Sicktown. Oh, just misses with the hit. So another 5 points for Tinsel Typhoon, and she'll call the jam just as Swagger Jackie gets out of the pack. ECRG breaking the century mark and taking the lead with that jam. 101.82 right now.
Very clear message, and it looks like number 192, The Stranger, is heading out there for ECRG to continue sending that message. Meanwhile, looks like there's some kind of a timeout or activity being sorted out with the officials.
Dell from Hell coming over to talk to the scorekeepers. Our head referee, front pack ref Edie Brickwald, jam refs, crash test ref, and Charmer. So official timeout being taken. Head ref going over talking to the coach of Emerald City, explaining what all's going on. We'd like to remind you folks that we have a raffle, the Big O raffle. 1 ticket for $1, you can get 6 for $5. $10 will get you length of nose to fingers. 20 for the height of a person. Find the tallest person. Biggie Smalls is around here somewhere. Grand prize on the raffle, 2 RollerCon MVP passes.
Whoa!
They're sold out currently and highly sought after. MVP Pass allows access to all training classes in Las Vegas from July 23rd to 27th. Biggest derby party, training, scrimmage, derby watching, photo bomb, everything else you could ever want derby related. Get yourself some raffle tickets. All right, looks like Del from Hell making sure the points are correct. Everything's getting added appropriately. The points were getting all recorded. That was quick. Lead jammer ECRG.
Meanwhile, Stitches and Bones recycled to the back of the pack, taking some big hits, looks like from Electreat.
And Crash Bandicoot. Big hits, but out of play as the penalty box starts to fill up. Oh, huge hit there by Sid Rock. Sid Rock been doing some great blocking all morning long, afternoon, whatever time it is.
And meanwhile, the Stranger finally making it through the pack, banks a 5-point grand slam, and looks like she manages to call it off before Stitches and Bones has a chance to rack up any more.
Good defensive work by ECRG out there and by Sicktown. 106.82 right now. It's just over 5 minutes gone in the second Second period,
Yeah.
2. Not 1,
2.
2.
Miss Kitty LaRue, number AK-47, lining up again for Sicktown. And Beg for Mercy, number 16 for ECRG.
Tiny little pack out there. 2-on-2 to start this out. Great defensive work by Swagger Jackie, knocking off Mercy, but able to avoid that hip check, find the inside lane. Lead jammer, ECRG. Also avoiding a block there. Sicktown jammer now out of the box. But Beg for Mercy able to shoot through, calls off the jam, picking up 4-0 run. Advantage ECRG again. And Stegosaurus not getting taken out by the pack thanks to a fancy knee slide.
Looks like Agent Orange, number 77, donning the jammer star for ECRG. This will be her first run under the star this bout. And of course, again, number 250 with a vengeance heading out there for Sicktown, eager to turn this thing around.
Empty penalty box to start this one off. Great pack work there by ECRG, opening a hole to the outside, and Agent Orange able to slide through, putting a final block to cap her jammer cap, lead jammer. Oh, weaving magic through the center of the pack, picking up 4 points, making it look easy. With a vengeance, though, shoots out of the pack, a lot harder work, but manages to ping-pong her way through for 4 points for Sicktown.
Well, Phil, you see a skater like Agent Orange go through the pack with such calmness, you know. I mean, she's working hard, but she takes her time. She looks to see where the opportunities are. Very experienced skater, and it really shows in the way she handles these packs.
And on that one, very good moves, looking behind her, figuring out where the other jammer was, got hit to the infield, calls off the jam, looking back, saying, okay, she's getting too close. I don't want With a Vengeance to pick up any points, so I'm going to call off the jam. 8 minutes in, 1:15.86 here in the second period. Tinsel Typhoon immediately swallowed up by the pack at the back. Swagger Jackie trying to make her way through, getting big hits by Shell F You Up. And Shell F You Up drawing the cut.
And that's the power jam Swagger Jackie was looking for, if she can just break out of that wall of white.
One more to beat, goes around the outside, lead jammer. And gonna call off the jam. Official review. I'm gonna find out what's going on there, Chaz.
Yeah, that was a little strange there, Phil. We appreciate the investigation for sure.
All right, what it looks like, Emerald City is calling a review. They're thinking Swagger Jackie made a cut in turn 2, wasn't caught by the officials at the time, so they're gonna have the officials look back at it, and then we'll get your answer here in just a second.
Great, thanks, Phil. Well, again, worth mentioning, Phil told you about some of the great prizes, the great grand prize available in our raffle, but that's not all. There are many different things you can win and great deals on tickets. Check out the raffle. The raffle.
Facing this way.
White's official review, they wanted to call a cut on the black jammer. They claimed she cut the pivot. There were no eyes on the jammer entering back on the track, cutting the pivot. There was no call.
And looks like they're getting it sorted out there. Here comes Phil with some further details on that rather complex official review.
All right, so White wanted a cut call on Swagger Jackie turn 2 while there were eyes on the player that they referenced the White pivot. They did not have eyes on the jammer exactly where she re-entered, so the call on the floor stands.
And meanwhile, Crash Bandicoot taking advantage of the power jam situation, working her way through that bunch of Emerald City skaters.
Oh, saw Agent Orange head into the penalty box, but had also passed an additional player while out of bounds. So how you like that? One goes in, the other comes out.
Action-packed, Phil, and you could hear her teammates there trying to get her to call it off in hopes of maybe stranding Tinsel Typhoon in the box for another jam, but didn't work out.
So Tinsel Typhoon trying to make her way through, takes a couple of great big hits. Sid Rock right in the middle of it again. A big sandwich play there with Sid Rock and Hotbox. Looks like Hotbox heading off to the Hotbox, the cooler. Tinsel Typhoon knocked to the inside. No pass, no penalty called at the front. Sid Rock with another hit on Tinsel Typhoon, but finally pops free. 5 points up on the board for ECRG.
Yeah, it looked like Frankie was looking for a cut on that last pass, but didn't get it. Instead, it was just more points for Tinsel Typhoon and ECRG.
Big hit there on Tinsel Typhoon by Sid Rock. Sid Rock putting on a checking clinic out there. Red Ruckus putting a big hit on Thrash Bandicoot. She gets knocked out of bounds, has to recycle. Hotbox out of the cooler, tries to open up a lane, but no dice. As number 94, Red Ruckus, saw that coming and shut the door. 3 seconds later, pops through before it does. That jam gets called. Emerald City 129, Sicktown 86, 19 minutes left in the game.
It's been great to see this much eagerness, Phil, but definitely seeing the energy start to run out just a little bit. You know, they're still making some tremendous efforts, but those pack speeds we were seeing at the beginning of the first half were just amazing, and now we're seeing a lot of stopped packs, a lot of very slow defense trying to put a lid on these fast jammers.
Exactly, and yeah, pack speed slowing before the bout. But right now, Emerald City in control, but does not pick up lead. That lead position, Miss Kitty LaHoo.
And it looks like a power jam as number 16, Beg for Mercy, gets sent to the penalty box.
Sugar Hooker also going to the box. 4-3 pack advantage for Sicktown. Landtuna going to try and make open a hole. Keeps the pack together. The back pack has to catch up, keep that pack in play. A little confusion and a spinorama, and 5 points on the board for Sicktown. Sicktown sends up Swagger Jackie to try and open a hole. Finally gets through for another 5 points. Out of play called on Shella F you up.
Looks like Shell F you up picks up, I believe it was an elbow. And Sugar Hooker coming in just in time to try and fill that gap, but boy, it's been Sicktown's jam so far.
Sicktown still picking up another 5 points on that. Then she'll call it off before either jammer can get to the back of the pack again. That's going to take Sicktown over the century mark. Hey, we'd like to thank Oakshire Brewing. Oakshire Brewing, strength, independence, and community. Thank you, Oakshire Brewing.
Absolutely, Phil. Another delicious local brewery here in beautiful pastoral Eugene, Oregon.
Beer. Oh yeah, Derby.
Tenacious efforts by Spunky Bruiser dashing to the inside. Not quite picking up lead jammer, though, because looks like Bones picked it up just ahead of her.
Stitches and Bones hot on her heels. Both these jammers heading to the back of the pack. Oh, Stitches and Bones breaks through on the middle. But Spunky Bruiser manages to beat through on the inside, so each one shooting through for 4 big points. Both these jammers making record speed, and the pack speed, just as you were talking about it slowing down, starts speeding up again. Both these jammers, oh, great work by Stitches and Bones, seeing the hole around the outside back, and a cut penalty being called on Spunky Bruiser. So a grand slam, Sicktown, Stitches and Bones, power jam. Just the opportunity Sicktown was looking for, and Sheila F you up, heading back to the penalty box. Good blocking there by Sutherland. And another grand slam of Stitches and Bones cannot be stopped.
I tell you, Phil, I'm not sure she knew she was lead jammer for a while there. She might have put a lid on this thing, but I'm sure she's glad she didn't now.
Oh, yeah, dodges to the outside. 5 more points in the air. Huge jam for Sicktown. 15 points separating these two teams now. Oh, huge, huge hit there by Sutherland. Both jammers now back in the pack, trying to make their way out of play called in front, and Spunky Bruiser getting free passage through the wasteland.
Well, it's a little puzzling, Phil. Sicktown seems to be allowing some points they do not have to, but I can certainly understand that jammer's eagerness to try and run this thing up. But boy, Spunky Bruiser sneaking back in and racking up a few points for ECRG as Sicktown lets it go on by.
Good defense by Sicktown, actually shutting down Spunky Bruiser in that last jam, knocking her down and out of bounds before her hips could pass anyone. And Miss Kitty LaRue having some words with our head official, head referee, Dell from hell. After the end of that last jam, 139-125, Emerald City just up by 14 points. If my math's right, you should double check that.
Tinsel Typhoon making an effort to sneak to the outside, gets recycled to the back, while Swagger Jackie making some very big moves, knocking into that wall of white, trying to shove through it, but boy, they are just sitting on her.
Agent Orange out there. Oh, managed to distract the pack long enough for Tinsel Typhoon to sneak through on the outside. Lead jammer, ECRG. Oh, huge hit by Land Tuna there. And a stop block on Sugar Hooker. She'll go off to the sin bin. 3-on-3 pack. Out of play declared for Swagger Jackie, so she gets free passage out. Now out of the pack on a scoring pass, but already through for 4 points is ECRG. And she's gonna call off the jam before Swagger Jackie can get there. 4-0, Emerald City. Back and forth, Chaz, back and forth, forth and back.
It is just amazing, Phil. You know, you couldn't get this kind of excitement if you paid for it, except here at the Big O tournament.
I'd like to thank all you fans for showing up here today, this first day of action of the Big O tournament. 3 big days of Derby, capping off with Team USA versus the MVPs from every team here.
It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane, Phil. Team USA and a whole host of some of the best skaters that have traveled here. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, a back block called now on ECRG. Beg for mercy. So this is going to be a power jam for Sicktown. Oh, well, it would have been before Thrash Bandiscoot came right in front of that blocker for ECRG. So a cutting call. One will go in, the other will come out. I hope. 143, 125 left. No, 12 and a half minutes left. That was the score. There we go.
It is flying right by, Phil, and you can sense that some of these skaters are beginning to taste the nectar of desperation. It's influencing some of their decisions, definitely spurring them to their athletic heights.
Beg for mercy through for her initial pass. Now on a scoring pass, finds an empty hole to the outside and picks up all 5. Grand slam, ECRG. Thrash Bandiscoot finds an open hole to the inside after getting shut down on the outside. She's now through on her initial pass.
Meanwhile, Beg for Mercy getting through, racking up 4 points with the help of her teammates.
Spunky Bruiser with a big hit there, but Electri manages to knock her out of bounds. Scoot's got to come back in. Great defensive work again by Sid Rock.
Beg for Mercy sneaking around to the outside, picking up a grand slam while Scoot's still working to get through that pack. Boy, they keep getting right in her way, shoving her to the inside. She is definitely meeting some fierce resistance.
Pirate Booty with a good hit on that last one. And there's Spunky Bruiser, knocks her out of bounds. Scoot's got to come all the way back and recycle, trying to get out of the pack. And 2 minutes finally expires. Only 2 points picked up by Thrash Bandiscoot and all that. 127, 159, 11 minutes left. Time not quite becoming the enemy for Sicktown, but here soon. AK-47 Miss Kitty LaHoo.
And that's number 442, Patty Retrod Sutherland. Out there for ECRG, picking up lead jammer, sneaking past on the inside and working to pick up some speed before Sicktown can even get through the pack.
Great defensive work at the front of the pack. Agent Orange, Rod Ruckus, and Sheila Fuck F you up.
Oops, that was close.
She intends for it to be close.
And a grand slam, ECRG. Oh, an empty hole in the center of the pack. And Southland comes right through it.
Sutherland is almost like a whisper as she slides through the winds of resistance.
I think it's because she's almost invisible. I can only see her bones as she's out there.
Yeah, it's a great observation, Phil. You know, she actually had those pants custom made from an x-ray of her legs. That's her actual internal anatomy portrayed on those pants.
Crazy, but beautiful all the same. Defensive blocking right now by Kitty LaRue. Oh, a huge hit there by Remorse Code. Morse Code, though, in turn hit out of bounds by Meat Candy. And again, just fantastic defensive work in this jam by ECRG. Trying to open a hole in the back, but no dice. Great defensive work. Red Ruckus, Shella F you up. Agent Orange and Remorse Code just putting amazing defensive work on the board. Huge jam for Emerald City. 182, 127 on the clock right now.
Boy, what a stunning turn there, Phil. I think that probably is the biggest scoring jam of this game so far.
How many points was that, Laws? No, how many points in that last jam? 23-point jam. Huge. Great work so far. Timeout taken by Sicktown. Try and reorganize a little bit. Get themselves pumped back up. 8:39 left on the clock. Not an insurmountable lead, but time starting to become a factor.
Absolutely, and Sicktown probably appreciates this opportunity to try and buck the momentum a little bit. It's a little bit like icing the kicker, wouldn't you say? It's, you know, you get making people cool off for a second.
She's not on our roster. I don't know who that is.
She must be an alternate.
And now we have an official timeout. Gonna call all the refs in. All right, folks, we'd like to just point out that thanks for coming again to the Big O, where we have 49 bouts this weekend, 31 WFTDA games, 9 MRDA games, 6 juniors, and 1 exhibition. 112 officials here, 24 announcers, 19 different vendors. Just catching up on a little paperwork on that one. So 19 vendor business and 36 teams here all this weekend.
It is mind-blowing, Phil. It is such a huge event, and we are so privileged to have such a huge competition to start it off here.
Yeah, great bouts to start this off. Lead jammer, your host league, Emerald City. Tinsel Typhoon in the lead. Swagger Jackie, though, hot on her heels behind her.
And as Swagger Jackie closes in on the pack, looks for an opportunity to squirrel to the outside and doesn't quite do it. Recycled again.
Got hit to the outside, but finally, after Sid Rock fell down, able to get out of the pack, picking up 4 points is Tinsel Typhoon. Here comes Swagger Jackie answering with 4 points of her own. Oh, a back block call on Tinsel Typhoon as she came into the pack. She's going to go sit down. This is a power jam now for Swagger Jackie and Sicktown. She makes it through the pack. 5 big points for Sicktown.
Well, whatever reserve of energy she's been saving up, Phil, this is the time to tap it.
Exactly. Oh, weaves her way through the pack. Another 5 points. 10 points up on the board so far for Sicktown. Sicktown 136, Emerald City 189. Still time left. Swagger Jackie weaves her magic through one more time, stays on her feet. Another 5 points, Swagger Jackie and Sicktown.
And a very slick move, despite some huge efforts by Megan Morphosis to get in her way. Just couldn't do it.
Oh, now opening up a hole is Land Tuna. Swagger Jackie takes advantage, picking up another 5 points. Tinsel Typhoon, though, out of the box and now through the pack, picking up 4 points of her own. Finally, answering back is Emerald City. Land Tuna off to the penalty box. Swagger Jackie trying to goes left, goes right, inside, outside, knocked to the inside. No pass, no penalty. And another 5 points up in the air for Sicktown.
Looked like Swagger Jackie was maybe hoping to rack up a few points and put a lid on it, but again, some very quick moves by the ECRG. Jammer put her back in the lead.
Swagger Jackie just scored 29 points on that jam.
Wow. Wow.
6 minutes and some change left on the clock. That takes Sicktown 151, still down by 40 some odd points, but with jams like that, my goodness, she says, all right, team, get on my back. I'm taking you to the promised land of victory. But not before Spunky Bruiser has something to say for it. Lead jammer for Emerald City.
Absolutely. She was practically back to the end of the pack before anybody knew what was going on.
Oh, and a cutting the track call now for Sicktown. This is going to be a power jam for Punky Bruiser. Punky Bruiser coming to the inside, picking up 5 points of her own, trying to answer back for Swagger Jackie's huge 29-point jam. Sicktown defense trying to stand strong at the front of the pack. Finally has to let her go. Meat Candy has to peel off. And another 5 points up on the board for ECRG. Dodges to the outside, jukes to the inside, shoots through, and another 5 points. 15 points so far on this jam. With a vengeance, though, out of the penalty box. Just barely gets around Agent Orange on the inside. Big open hole to the outside. And another 4 points. 19-point jam for Spunky Bruiser before With a Vengeance can make it back on a scoring pass.
Some interesting decisions by ECRG here, Phil. They're taking a few chances. taking some longer scoring opportunities, even when it means giving away a few. These people came here to skate.
And how. I think they realize time is the enemy of Sicktown right now, so trying to kill some of the time off. Sutherland out there against Stitches and Bones. Stitches and Bones taking some big hits at the back of the pack.
Sutherland, number 442, darting through the blockers, picking up lead jammer again for ECRG.
Stitches and Bones, though, great form, heading around the corners full speed as 3 different skaters, Frankie Stein, Shella FU up, and Remorse Code heading off to the sin bin. That jam comes to an end. 3-0 advantage, Emerald City. Start with a somewhat reduced pack in this next jam. 3:30 something left. 224, 156. Miss Kitty LaRue out there against Tinsel Typhoon. 2-on-2, Miss Kitty LaRue both get driven to the outside. Tinsel Typhoon, though, recovers, goes to the inside, finds open lane, lead jammer, Emerald City. No quarter asked, no quarter given in this one. 3 minutes left in the game. Oh, Meat Candy almost connecting with a huge one, but Tinsel Typhoon able to pull up just a little, bounce to the inside as Electrete heads off to the sin bin. 1 blocker on the floor right now for Emerald City. Well, there was only one.
Well, and I tell you, Phil, if that was the situation 5 more minutes ago, maybe it'd be a little more of an opportunity, but as we close down towards the last 2.5 minutes, it gets a little bit harder to see how Sicktown can turn it around, but still, no sign of... If you need to go, I can do the closing shit.
Big hand for her, ladies and gentlemen.
We're very glad to see Red Ruckus looks like she's okay and heading off the track, number 94 for ECRG.
We always prefer when our EMTs are bored out of their minds, but we're happy that they're here. Thank you, guys. Jam actually called by the jammer, not for injury. So if she wants to return, she can. 2 minutes, 34 seconds left.
Looks like Sid Rock lining up for Sicktown against, again, number 222 Spunky Bruiser for ECRG. What could be the last jam, but let's see what they do with it.
Sid Rock, great work out there blocking all night tonight. This time she's going to put the star on, but Spunky Bruiser able to get through. Lead jammer. Oh, huge hit again by Shella FU up. And a timeout taken to stop the clock by Emerald City.
You know, it's sanctioned. I think there may be more awareness about the ranking advantages of running up the screen. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. That explains a lot.
So we'd like to thank a few of the vendors here this evening. Go check them out. They got all kinds of stuff. Buy yourself something nice. Tell them Phil Dirt sent you, and they'll probably look at you blankly. I'd like to thank Pivot Star, Rydell, Roller Doll, Team USA, and Bont. Just a few of our many, many vendors. Check out their booths. They're all set up over by track 1. Get yourself something nice. All right, time running out. 2:08 left on the clock. time starts coming to an end. Swagger Jackie, who had that huge 29-point jam a little bit ago, out there against Sutherland.
And meanwhile, Sutherland, number 442 for ECRG, meeting stiffer resistance than perhaps she expected, and managing to eke out lead jammer ahead of Swagger Jackie, who looked early on to have that advantage.
Swagger Jackie goes to the inside, outside, finally gets around Stranger out of the pack. Oh, a couple of 1-2 punch there by Sicktown defense. Finally, Miss Kitty LaRue takes a knee, lets her by, and Sutherland gets hit to the inside by Hotbox. Calls off the jam, picking up a 2-0 advantage.
Meanwhile, Sicktown again sending out Sid Rock for some additional jammer opportunities against Tinsel Typhoon, number 165. Definitely has racked up a lot of miles on the track this afternoon, Phil.
Definitely one of the hard jammers, all kinds of action. This could be the last jam, just 1 minute left in the game. Empty penalty box to start this off. Probably won't stay that way. Sid Rock goes to the outside, but Typhoon making it through the center, making it look easy. Lead jammer, ECRG. Sid Rock finally clears a hole in the pack and gets out. Looks like an empty hole to the outside, but ducks to the inside as everybody goes out to try and stop her. Picking up 4 big points. Tinsel Typhoon. Sid Rock answering with 4 points of herself. And calling off the jam, Tinsel Typhoon.
And tough to say, Phil. Looks like there may not be
There's the timeout.
There's the timeout. All right, here we go.
Sicktown, 1 timeout remaining. They use it. So they're going to take a timeout, try and get themselves back at least as a moral victory at this point. 1 more jam.
I'm sure they'd appreciate leaving ECRG with a tough lesson, Phil, a warning for next time, and there will be a next time.
Oh, there will be. These teams with a long history, I imagine. A friendly rivalry, I'm sure.
Very friendly indeed, Phil. Very friendly.
Glad to see both of these teams out here putting on an amazing game so far. Sicktown making big moves in the second period. Momentum coming up, taking the lead for a little while, and Emerald City coming back momentum at the end of the first. And you definitely can't say it's been all Emerald City, because Sicktown's had some amazing points, ups and downs here in the second period. Been sort of back and forth.
Absolutely, Phil. It's been razor tight for most of the bout, very action-packed. You cannot say that this was a boring bout at all. It was a huge fight, almost to the end, and there's no sign of anyone letting up at all.
All right, Miss Kitty LaRue making it out, lead jammer. Sutherland takes a hip check there from Swagger Jackie, but stays in bounds, now out of the pack. Miss Kitty LaRue trying to look for purchase. Great offensive assist by Swagger Jackie. Finally gets to the front. Great offensive assists all around by Sicktown, and another 4 points for Miss Kitty LaRue. Hotbox with some good defense, but Sutherland puts on the Jets, takes a hit from Swagger Jackie, shoots on through, another 4 points for ECRG.
And there runs the period clock, Phil, so this will be the last jam. We just have to see whether it is called, and that is your bout, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, great bout by both these teams. Let's hear it for them, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Chaz, remember, that's not official until it's official, and he says it's official.
Thank you. All right, nice work, man. Hey, thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. And as the officials make some final calculations to determine the final score, we again want to thank these teams. Tremendous effort, very entertaining bout.